What are Japan's entry requirements? Entry into Japan is easier than ever, but things are always changing. So in this video, I'll be showing you the most important things that you need to get right before your trip to Japan, and the crucial bits that most tourists might not know or simply leave out, but you definitely shouldn't. Think of this as your digital omotenashi, which is the Japanese spirit of hospitality, preparing everything before you even arrive. So let's get you through immigration faster than Nozomi Shinkansen, and let's get started. What are the entry requirements? Well, currently Japan continues to offer visa-exempt entry for citizens of over 70 countries for short-term tourism. These include 90-day short-term entry for the USA, UK, Canada, Australia, and most EU nations, and 30 days for the UAE and Qatar. Just remember that your passport should be valid for the duration of your stay. Whilst Japan doesn't strictly require 6 months of validity, many transiting airlines or countries do, so check your layover country's rules. And always check the official entry requirements of your country for any updates before travel. Visit Japan Web is now the golden banana standard for entry into Japan. Visit Japan Web is an online entry portal that allows you to register your customs and immigration entry information before you even leave your country. Since the last version of this video, the Visit Japan Web portal is no longer just a recommendation. It really is the gold standard for avoiding long queues and stress-free travel. A unified QR code is used to easily move through immigration and customs, and although the old-style paper version is still available, less airlines are providing these, meaning extra stress at the airport and time wasting. Why waste your precious ramen eating time in airport queues? You can register your trip on the Visit Japan Web as soon as you have your flight and your first hotel booked. And if anything changes, you can amend your application before you head off. Just take care, because there are some scam versions of this website. I'll leave the link for the official site here. All this Japan entry talk, how about subscribing? You know, just saying. Cash is still king, most of the time anyway. While contactless credit card payments is slowly more accepted, including on many bus lines and even some train gates, you still need physical yen for temples and shrines, for offerings and amulets, and even getting in, gachapon machines and older arcades, small mum and pop eateries and stores, and generally anywhere outside of large cities. Always have some cash on hand, and remember that a safe bet is to withdraw cash at 7-Eleven ATMs. Getting yourself an IC card, which is a rechargeable contactless card used on most transport and even can be used at restaurants and stores, will help you remain mostly cash free. And if you're on an iPhone, you can set up a digital version before your trip under the Apple Wallet, or you can even download the new Digital Welcome Suica app too. Most international Visa and MasterCard issues have been resolved, but topping up with a currency card like Wise, Revolut or similar is my pro tip if you're having issues. And just remember that the system does close for maintenance during the night Japan time. And if you're not on an Apple device, then you'll need a physical IC card like a Suica, a Passimo, or a Manaka card, which is the one that I have. These are widely available at major stations across most cities and are mostly interchangeable and can be used across Japan. It's like having a magic wand for every train gate and vending machine in the country. And in my opinion, it's one of the first things you should sort out once you arrive in Japan. Alright, some essential apps and navigation. You can get these installed and sorted before your trip to Japan. Having access to a data connection opens up the world of maps, translation, which is why I always recommend getting yourself an eSIM or pocket Wi-Fi. I usually use Sakura Mobile, which is a Japan exclusive mobile data service, so you might want to use my affiliate link, which helps the channel out, plus it's something that you are likely gonna get anyway, right? And when it comes to navigating, install Google Maps or similar to check train times and not get lost, well, most of the time anyway. Google Translate for those times you really need to translate a menu or Japanese text. It can really make a difference. Tabelog to reserve your restaurant or simply see what's available. For safety, something that might not be apparent, but install Yurekuru Call, which is a disaster prevention app or similar. Japan's early warning system for earthquakes is world class. These apps will give you seconds of lead time that are crucial for safety. In terms of communication, download Line. If you make friends or need to contact a local business, this is the only messaging app that truly matters in Japan. Essential considerations. Here are some important things you need to think about or know before your trip to Japan. Should you get a JR pass? The JR pass is rarely worth it unless you're crossing the country multiple times a week. For a simple Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka round trip, buying individual tickets is usually cheaper. That's not to say that you cannot make the pass work. So use a JR pass calculator to figure out if you're making a saving or making a donation to the railroad. You might want to consider regional passes. These provide incredible value if the focus is on specific areas. Many of these passes have been updated with better coverage and simplified digital pickup. Here are some noteworthy passes. The new JR East Pass is perfect for those wanting to explore the deep north or Tohoku. This pass covers every JR East line, including the Shinkansen lines to Aomori, Akita, Yamagata, Niigata and Nagano, plus several private lines. The JR Tokyo Wide Pass is arguably the most popular regional pass for travelers based in Tokyo. If you're planning to visit Fuji, Nikko, or the ski resorts of Yuzawa, this is the one for you. The Sanyo-san in Area Pass, this is one of my personal favorites. This is a ticket to the other golden route. If you're planning to travel from Osaka or Kyoto all the way to Fukuoka with spots at Himeji Castle or Hiroshima Peace Park, the famous floating torii at Miyajima, etc., this pass is absolutely the best value. And the Hokuriku Arch Pass. The Hokuriku Arch Pass is the golden route alternative that connects Tokyo and Osaka via the coastal town of Kanazawa. And as from March 2026, there's even more coverage and you can see even more. And as a pro Golden Banana 2026 tip, skip the queues. Starting in April the 1st, 2026, if you book your pass through the official JR website, you no longer have to wait at the green window or the Midori no Madaguchi lines. You can simply collect your pass by scanning your passport at selected ticket vending machines in major stations like Tokyo, Shinjuku, Haneda, etc. And luggage. This is what you need to know before you go. On some Shinkansen bullet trains, you need to book a special seat for your luggage if your luggage is considered oversized luggage. Think of your suitcase like a passenger. If it's big, it needs its own reservation. If your suitcase's total dimension, that's length, width and depth, are more than 160 centimeters when you add them together, you must reserve a seat with oversized luggage on the Tokaido, Sanyo and the Kyushu Shinkansen lines. And as an update for 2026, just note that there have been some trial compartments installed on some Shinkansens. These are racks at the end of the cars with locks. And some of these new compartments can be used for regular size luggage without reservation if space is available. However, for oversized baggage, a reservation is still required. Luggage forwarding or takyubin. This is the ultimate Tokyo Banana travel hack. For about 2,000 or 3,000 yen, hotels will ship your bags to the next destination. Basically, if you send them by 10 AM, they usually arrive at the hotel the following morning. And my pro hack here is that you can actually use this system to send your luggage up to 7 days in advance, meaning send your bag with luggage and travel a few days with smaller bags for those trickier routes. Luggage should be part of your planning for a Japan trip. So travel light like a ninja whilst your luggage teleports to the next hotel. The must book checklist. While you're on the planning stage of your trip, start booking attractions and sites in advance because Japan can have a strict reservation system with some attractions having limited windows to reserve. So here's a list of suggested book before you go attractions to set your alarm for. Shibuya Sky. Tickets can only be purchased up to 2 weeks in advance. Tokyo Skytree. Tickets can be purchased up to 30 days in advance. Team Lab, that's planets, borderless, etc. Reserve up to 2 months in advance, and I recommend that you book by at least 2 or 3 weeks in advance if you can. Universal Studios Japan Express Passes. Booking opens 90 days before your needed dates. Tokyo Disney Resort. Online tickets go on sale 2 months in advance. The ones that you always ask about, the Ghibli Museum, the bookings open on the 10th of each month at 10 AM Japan Standard Time for the following month. And the Ghibli Park bookings open on the 10th of each month at 2 PM, just 2 months in advance. The Pokemon Cafe reservations open exactly 31 days in advance at 6 p.m. Japan Standard Time. And the new one, the most crazy one to get into right now, is the Poke Park Kanto. Bookings open at 6 p.m. Japan Standard Time on the last day of the month, 2 months in advance. For example, April tickets go on sale February the 28th. Any other activities or tours, I highly suggest you try to get your tickets in advance so that you don't miss out. And for those of you aiming to travel later on in the year, well, aiming to start on November the 1st, 2026, tax-free system will be changing to a pay first, refund later model. So consider allowing an extra 30 to 60 minutes at the airport for your refund process, especially during the first few months, so your refund doesn't become a parting gift to the tax office. As from the filming of this video, travel insurance is not currently mandatory, but this might change. The Japanese government has become very strict about medical debt. As of January 2026, if you receive medical treatment in Japan and you leave without paying the bill of 10,000 yen or more, you can actually be blacklisted and denied entry to Japan in the future. So don't let a twisted ankle turn into a permanent no entry sign. Yes, Tokyo can be crowded, but I've got a cheat code for you because I've been working hard on a video series to show you the most, well, quieter side of Tokyo that's worth going to in this playlist here.